If your day sounds like
we need the report ASAP,
you deserve Modelo. If you've persevered through
2 more reps, 2 more.
You deserve this ice-cold reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter. Drink responsibly. Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Shopify is there to help you grow. Shopify helps you sell everywhere, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, and sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. What I love about Shopify is how no matter how big you want to grow, Shopify gives you everything you need to take control and take your business to the next level. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., and Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Attack the Baseline, the WNBA podcast where every episode we attack our baseline knowledge of the WNBA. It is a post-Thanksgiving December 2nd edition of our wonderful podcast, and just like last week, there is very little to discuss. However, the WNBA executives blessed us today with a schedule of the 2025 season. So today we're planning on getting into that, as well as doing a little news roundup of the handful of little things we've got going on around the league. But before we get into any of that, Kristen, how's it going on this Monday afternoon?
Yeah, it's Monday. I'm feeling it. I'm still not recovered from Thanksgiving.
That turkey.
No.
Took a lot out of you.
I'm still asleep from that.
Whatever that stuff's called in the turkey. Did they prove that was a myth?
No, I think that's real.
That's like real. Tryptophan? Is that tryptophan? MSG? That's, I don't know. That's something that's like salt.
Yeah.
If you know more about turkeys, let us know. You can send us an email, attackthebaseline@gmail.com, or connect with us on either Twitter or Bluesky at ATBPod. Just give us a search, Attack the Baseline. We're there. We're hanging out. We're posting shows. We're talking about the league when there's stuff to talk about. Otherwise, we're pretty quiet. But that's okay, because we know that you're still craving some talk about women's basketball. Mm-hmm. There have been some interesting college results. A couple upsets. Notre Dame upset twice last week. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I'm bringing this into... Like, we weren't planning on talking about this, but something to note as we talked about women's college basketball a couple weeks ago. Notre Dame had a huge win early in the season, was number 3 in the country, and then lost back-to-back games that they were favored in. Kind of interesting. We've got TCU, yes, ranked for the first time in school history, ranked number 9 right now. Mm-hmm. Ranked top 10 for the first time in history. Haley Van Lith, Olympic bronze medalist, putting in work there.
Now, I did see discussions about whether she'll go into the draft and be drafted and all that, and I don't know.
I mean, look, if you prove that your talent is undeniable, then you got a shot. Mm-hmm. I think it would be cool to see Haley in the league, personally, but that's because I was able to watch her in the Olympics. Like before, she was a character that we'd heard about, that we'd seen, that she was pretty high profile on the LSU team, but you never know. Mm-hmm. We'll see when draft time comes around and see how she carries along through this season with her team. But let's bring it back. We got some bigger news stories to talk about. You've got the list. Where do you want to start? We've got some Unrivaled stuff, some league stuff.
Yeah, we can start with Unrivaled, and we can start with Kelsey Plum, mostly only Kelsey Plum.
Yeah.
She broke my heart over this weekend and said she will no longer be playing in Unrivaled for personal reasons. We don't want to speculate of why that could be. So that leaves my Laces team with another free agent slot.
Yes, another wild card enters the mix.
Wild card, exactly. And there's no news at all.
We have not filled the other 2 wild card spots.
Right, so there's another spot now that needs to be filled. So hoping that they're working on it. I'm sure they are. But...
I'm sure they are. We've got games kicking off in about a month and a half, so...
That's enough time.
I would think so.
Yeah. So that was a true bummer of Kelsey Plum. As someone who has proven herself as being really good in 3-on-3...
Yeah.
And I think would have been really fun to watch in this league.
Yeah.
So hopefully she will try again next year.
Yeah.
And will want to play next year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you look at that Laces team, it was KP, Kayla McBride, Alyssa Thomas, Courtney Williams, Kate Martin, Steph Dolson. I don't think, like, obviously losing KP is huge for that team, but the thing that she brings... generally, in my opinion, is outside shooting and speed. They will probably be lacking on the speed front, but, you know, Alyssa Thomas is a control the pace of play type of player, so they might not need to go so fast. And I'm sure the coaches are going to say, let's figure out how to play slower if we're not going to have one of the faster players in the league on our team. But I don't think they lose so much considering who else they have as far as outside shooting is concerned. Kayla McBride, a very good outside shooter. Obviously, Alyssa Thomas, not an outside shooter. But
Steph Dolson, too.
Steph Dolson can shoot. We know that. We know that. And Courtney Williams can shoot from all over. She proved that she was a good outside shooter in the playoffs this year. She could fill that gap. Kate, generally, her role has been to be an outside shooter as well. So this will be kind of probably good for Kate, because she may get more opportunity to fulfill kind of the role of a Kelsey Plum light. I don't see her taking 10 threes a game, but you never know.
Yeah.
What are the team? The coaches said the point of the league is to help develop the players. So this is a big opportunity for a player like Kate when the other players that you look on the team are already the top of the upper echelon of the W. So. Plus wild card, who knows? Who knows what wild card can bring?
Who knows? Could be anybody.
Correct. And now both of our teams have wild cards.
Yeah, well,
I hope wild card is better.
Maybe I'll pick a new team. We'll see. I wasn't so committed.
You're already out on them.
Well, Kelsey Plum was one of the main reasons. We'll see. I'll have to go back and look.
Gotcha.
But she also was busy launching her cigar line.
Oh, I did not see this.
Did you see that? You didn't see that?
I know that there's the famous picture of her smoking a cigar.
Yeah, well, she launched her own cigar line.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Okay.
Not that I know anything about that, but
I also do not know anything about cigars, but she likes to smoke them. So good for you, KP.
Yep.
No, right? I hope Kelsey Plum, all things considered, hope she's doing okay. Hope it's nothing too serious. And for the people that think that it's because she's going to go to the Valkyries, stop dreaming about that crazy idea. That would not, to me, that would be a crazy reason to quit this league. But I'm not going to give credence to any of the other things. I just think that particular reason why she would drop out is ridiculous to me.
No. I think, it's been said that she had a hard season, and it seems like a lot of people at this point just wanted a break from everything that was going on in the season. So, yes, our best wishes to Kelsey Plum.
Yes.
Also, league news, I guess. Eric Thibault, formerly the head coach of the Washington Mystics, was hired as the associate head coach of the Minnesota Lynx.
Yes. Associate head coach, which I don't think that's a role in the NBA. I feel like
Well,
it's just head coach, assistant coach.
you can make a role if you want.
I guess.
I mean, he must have had a feeling that he wasn't going to be picked for these other head coaching roles. So, got the next best thing. I guess, like, the number 2 coach.
Yeah, I mean, he's a pretty decent coach. They were a hurt team all year, last year. They just missed the playoffs. 2 or 3 games with Slim or with Shakira Austin last year, and they probably make the playoffs, and they're probably an 8 seed. I don't think that that necessarily saves his job in Washington, but, you know, I remember seeing that there was a bit of surprise when he was fired, considering that it took a little bit longer than some of the initial first coaches that were cut. So I guess this is a good landing spot, considering Minnesota was the second best team in the league.
Oh,
last
yeah.
year.
I mean, yeah, a step up for him, I guess, even though I did not think that the Mystics were bad. You're right that there was just so much injury. And then we also had Lindsay Whalen, who was a former player on the Sun and the Lynx, became an assistant coach for the Lynx. She had been the head women's basketball coach for her alma mater, University of Minnesota, since 2018.
The Golden Gophers, I believe. That's cool. But now she's landed in the W.
Yep, she's
another
back.
college to W transport. I feel like that's been kind of the move. It's not been these recyclings of these W coaches.
Well, at least she was a player too.
Right, which is cool. So good for Miss Whalen. It's awesome. And then,
well, we can touch on some drama, potentially.
Potential drama.
I don't want to spread rumors.
No.
Because I saw a TikTok about this today, but then I immediately saw a Instagram reel that I'm like, okay, potentially disproves.
So whatever you're in is potentially disproved. So this is like people are talking about whatever this is. This is not something that you are thinking.
I'm not making stuff up.
Okay. Then I think it's fair game to discuss in light.
Yeah. Well, it had been known how close Sophie Cunningham and Natasha Cloud had become over the season on the Mercury. They were always doing TikToks together, calling each other their besties, taking pictures. You know, they were having a lot of fun. And then Natasha Cloud did, I guess, an Instagram Live where people were asking her about Sophie, and she said I mean, I'm not trying to be political here, but basically said that Sophie voted against her rights, and you know, she couldn't understand how someone would do that if they were friends with her. So seemingly Tosh had some negative feelings towards Sophie's political views. Which has been discussed by other people, Sophie's political views.
Yes. I feel like I only ever hear about Sophie's political views.
She's really one of the only ones. But, so people were like, are they going to trade Sophie even though she just signed an extension? They're not going to trade Tosh. Tosh is so good. So what are they going to do? Are these two players going to be able to play on the team together again? But then we'll get into the schedule. The Mercury did a reel posting captures of the schedule. And it was an awkward photo shoot with Sophie, Tosh Cloud, and Kalia Copper.
Okay.
And it was the three of them joking around, doing funny photo shoot, awkward pictures. So maybe that was just the team being you guys need to do this.
Yeah. Probably to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But maybe they hashed it out. Maybe they figured it out.
Yeah, so keep your eye on that.
Yeah, there's a little bit of tea. That would be an interesting cause for a move.
Mm-hmm.
Is this. So.
Look, people are sticking to their guns at this point, and I respect it.
Uh-huh.
So.
I get it.
Do what you gotta do.
Well, we'll see what happens over there in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going to do it for our small news wrap-up. Like we said, really bits and pieces, kind of rumor stuff, little things, little coaching hires. But that's okay, because we are going to get into some of the things that I found interesting about the upcoming 2025 WNBA schedule. So
yes.
Let's check that out now.
I haven't really looked at it, so John enlighten me.
I will.
Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Shopify is there to help you grow. Shopify helps you sell everywhere, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, and sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. What I love about Shopify is how no matter how big you want to grow, Shopify gives you everything you need to take control and take your business to the next level. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., and Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
After the end of a good fight, you deserve an ice-cold reward. Modelo, you put in the hours, the energy, the tough labor, because you know the bigger the fight, the better the reward. Modelo, the mark of the fighter. Drink responsibly. Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
All right. So, unlike last year, the schedule will be 44 games instead of 40.
For each team.
Correct.
Yeah.
We add another team. That adds 4 more games. Ultimately, because there's 13 teams, I didn't look too into the weeds about, like, the Valkyries play these teams 4 times and these teams 3 times. It's kind of hard to do the math when there's 13 teams. I'm sure that it's not like an exact even split. Everybody plays every team the exact amount of time.
No.
But that's fine. They're building up the length of the season in terms of games played, which I think is a good thing. When we add 2 more teams into the mix next year, do we stay at 44 games? Do we move to 48 games? Do we move to like 50 games? I don't know. I don't think they've discussed it yet.
That would be a lot.
But now you have to play more games because there's more teams to play, unless you don't care about even, because remember, last year, every team played each other 4 times, 2 games at home and 2 games away.
Yeah, it worked out that way.
Right.
This, is not going to work out that evenly, and that's fine. But, if they keep, I'm sure the players are going to we'll see the CBA negotiations. I'm sure the players are going to have some pushback if they are just trying to add a couple games every year.
Right.
Making the season only a little bit longer, but still kind of encroaching on the international seasons.
Yeah.
Some players immediately went to go play overseas when the season was over.
Right.
So they can't just keep taking games away from people that are trying to go overseas and play, but not giving them enough here to stay. So, if they're trying to keep people here, then they better expand it more than only a few games every year.
Right.
I think.
And I think, there's been a lot of discussion in NBA circles about we need to have less games. Like less than 82.
Sure.
And like, what if we moved it to somehow to get to 64 games? Like, figure that out. There's 30 teams, 64 games, they can break it up however they want to do it. And in this case, with the W, if you're going to increase games, then you're kind of going to have to change the start and end date a little bit, which would be good in the case of keeping them in the States and giving them more pay through a larger window in the year.
Well, it works out this year because last year with the whole Olympic break was built in. So now all these new games just fill in that spot. So they don't need to extend it really at all this year.
Right.
But 4 years from now, what are they going to do?
Right. Last year, the season started on May 14th, the regular season, and ended on September 19th. This year, the regular season starts on May 16th and ends on September 11th. So pretty much about the same amount of time, give or take a week and a half, 2 weeks, which they fill that month and a half Olympic void now with 4 games for every team, which comes out to a total of 26 additional games if you have 2 teams playing in each of these new games. So you're able to fill that gap that you had with this extra time. And it looks like the season, just off rip, looking at it over, remember last year when we were like, man, the Fever play every freaking night?
Yeah.
They don't. They don't. It kind of feels like
the Wings.
No.
Okay.
No, they don't. It kind of feels spread out. But here, let's get into some of the handful of matchups that I noted. Just starting with opening night. Here's our 3 matchups that we get on the opening night of the 2025 season. The Dream versus the Mystics, the Lynx versus the Wings, and the Sparks versus the Valkyries.
Oh, so the Valkyries get an opening night.
Which
that's nice.
I think makes sense, and I would expect the same thing for our other expansion teams next year. That maybe they'll play each other on opening night. You just put them both there.
Yeah.
But you will get to see Paige.
Makes sense.
Right. You get to see the Valkyries. You get to see Kiki, theoretically, assuming the Sparks take her at 2. She would also be in that game against the Valkyries. A little California game as the nightcap. I think Lynx Wings is pretty fun because, if the Wings get Paige, like as is expected, I don't want to say that it's a guarantee, but it should be. It's about as much of a guarantee as anything else. That game could be sneaky competitive, assuming they retain Satu and whatnot, and they keep their team with their better players. And then Dream and Mystics. Just kind of
that's interesting.
Hanging out. First game of the year.
First game?
Well, technically the 7 o'clock tip. So
okay,
let's go. Not to knock either of them, because who knows what they could do in the off season. I just think it's kind of a funny start.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, especially like both of these teams will also have new coaches.
Yep.
There's many free agents on these teams.
Yep.
What? I feel like they should have done the Liberty. Okay, but whatever.
Well, yeah. Who knows who decides how the schedule is made, but...
Well, you have to... You do Paige and you do the Valkyries, and then you have to save some excitement for the next couple nights.
Correct.
I guess.
Which they do, in fact, and now I'll get into some of the matchups throughout the year. Generally, the first matchups between 2 teams that are pretty interesting. But Aces Liberty, a rematch of the 2 previous finals before this year, May 17th, the next day.
Okay.
So day 2. Makes sense to do that. We get to see the champions against the former champions. Both teams should be still very, very, very good. Expect them to be the same starting lineups. So, you get to see that star power early, which you should do. Sun vs. Lynx, May 23rd, a rematch of that conference or that semifinal matchup. That was pretty good hoops. So, depending if the Suns stay similar to how they were last year, that should be another competitive matchup to look forward to. January 25th, Liberty at Golden State, I think is interesting to note because of the whole Sabrina narrative. Sabrina's a California girl. She gets to go back to kind of where she grew up to play a basketball game. Maybe listener Tim will be there in support of his Valkyries and to see Sabrina, who he is convinced outside of Juju Watkins to be the one player that will eventually be on the Valkyries. So I thought that was one to note. 2 days after that, June 27th, Fever versus the Wings in Dallas. CC versus Paige. Should be a good matchup for the people that are debating, and there will be a debate about which player is better. We'll get to see. This is the first opportunity to check that out. And then all the way, it takes until July 30th to have a matchup of the finals.
Really?
Where the Liberty will be in Minnesota versus the Lynx. And what's crazy to me is that it takes all the way until July 30th to have this rematch. And then the Lynx get 2 games with, I believe it's the Storm and the Aces. But then after that, on the 10th, they play the Liberty. On the 16th, they play the Liberty. On the 19th of August, they play the Liberty. They're 3 games in a row. They played Liberty.
In a row?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what?
What?
We've talked about the schedule makers, and I didn't look at this, how this works out for any other team. But the fact that the Lynx play the Liberty 3 games in a row.
Wait, are the Liberty playing other people?
The Liberty play other people. Because for the Lynx, it's the 10th, the 16th, so that's a big gap of days where they're not playing.
Yeah.
And then the 19th. Another little, like, multi-day gap. Who the heck decided that? Who the heck decided, like, yeah, we had a really good and amazing finals. 5-game finals.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they just spread these out throughout the year? Because they kind of did that with the Aces Liberty last year.
No, that doesn't make sense to me, so I'm checking it.
I double-checked. I thought it was truly ridiculous. But just pull it up.
Okay. Yeah, what the heck? That sucks. Okay, so we're not going to be a Lynx or a Liberty fan that week.
No, we will not be subjecting ourselves to 3 games, or in this case 2 games because of how spread out they are.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Maybe they do have a little, like, week-long break of a break.
Well,
of no games.
Things that we know happen mid-season.
Yeah.
Early in the season. The Commissioner Cup, which is running, I believe, 2 days longer than it did last year, because I'm pretty sure it was 2 days flat. This year, it runs from the 1st of June to the 17th of June, so 16 days, 17 days.
Another team.
But now there's another team. And I don't know how that ultimately breaks up, because before it was all the Eastern Conference, even though the conferences are fake in the W, played each other. So each team would play 5 opponents on the East side, and on the West, each team would play 5 opponents on the West side. Now that there's an extra opponent on the Western side with Golden State, do they have to play 6 games over there and only 5 over here? And is it win percentage? Because it was win percentage. But how do you do that when it's like they're all kind of together?
We'll analyze. We'll see. We'll analyze.
They may have... They may not actually... They don't have an official date for the final of that contest. So it's relatively close to that.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Well, we can look at each team's schedule and see which ones they play. They're marked. If you look at the schedule, they're marked which ones are the Commissioner's Cup games and which ones are not. So
right, but you won't know which... They won't mark a final. They haven't put like a
No, the
TBD
finals
game.
doesn't matter, just to get in.
Right, so I guess we can count it up. I counted that the Valkyrie have to play 6 games.
Okay, so then it's probably, the West, you have to play each team.
Right.
Makes sense.
It's just weird that, like, the other side's only going to play...
But it's still
regular season games.
Right,
so it
still
doesn't
playing
really
the same
matter.
Game. Right, it's fine.
Right.
Okay. And then there's the All-Star break, so, like, that is a break.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. And yeah, by September 11th, the season ends. All-Star break wasn't shown in the schedule on the app, unless I checked.
I think it's July 17th to 21st is the break. July 19th is the All-Star game.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Got it. So early July. Or mid-July.
Okay.
And then after that, you can look forward to 4 games of Minnesota versus Liberty in a 3-game stretch.
Well,
that's the big takeaways.
2 things I
what'd
saw.
You say?
Last year, there were a couple Connecticut Sun games played in Boston at the TD Garden.
Yes.
This year, there's only 1 scheduled so far.
Only 1.
People are up in arms.
Yes.
I think that they will move some. They have to move a couple more.
I mean, you think, like, friend of the pod, Laura, friend of the pod, Elizabeth, they were there at a TD Garden game.
Yeah.
And Laura was notably upset that it was only a Fever game this year, which is going to be a hard ticket to get, regardless of if it's at TD Bank.
Yeah.
I would be...
TD Bank.
At the teller's window at TD Bank. I don't know. What, TD Garden? TD Bank Garden. It is TD Bank.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, I would be shocked because they want to they were trying to build the audience in Boston specifically, especially in the case that if Connecticut ever leaves, it's going to go to Boston. Mm-hmm. So, why are you only going to play 1 game?
No, I think they'll add more.
Yeah, I think it's still early to say. Because it's not like every game tells you exactly where it is. But was there any other...
Well, the other thing I saw is that, so like last year, really the biggest rivalries was the Fever versus the Sky.
Uh-huh.
Caitlin versus Angel.
Right.
I'm confirming right now, but I think that they play 5 games against each other this year.
Oh.
What am I looking at? I'm looking for Chicago. Okay.
This is where they saw those ratings and they said, let me get another one of those.
Oh, so that's their opening game too, the 17th. May 17th is Indiana versus Chicago.
Second night of the league. Yep, okay. That makes sense.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they play 5 times. Which we said it should be 3 or 4.
Yeah, so I guess sometimes it's 5 and maybe 2. I don't know. Mm-hmm. We can go in and do the math, but like when you're just reacting to the schedule, you're not going to do all that.
No, we're just reacting, but we're just like they're trying to squeeze all they can get out of this rivalry that people are assigning to it.
Right.
Which I guess now they play 5 games is going to again be a discussion this year.
Oh yeah, we'll see. But fortunately, we've got other people to talk about this year. That's not it shouldn't just be the CC show, and the Angel show, because there's a whole infusion of good talent and other players that are getting better opportunities are going to get better. We're going to talk about them more. Players that are on the end of their career might get more conversation. Diana Taurasi, she's coming back, guys. I hate to break it to you. I know she says she hasn't announced her retirement. That's because she's probably not retiring. If she would have, right? She would have done that, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe she's like waiting to see who's going to be on the Mercury.
Diana Taurasi, you are unrivaled.
Oh, that'd be crazy. Well, tune in to the expansion draft, which is coming up Friday the 6th. Yes. I think it's at 6:30 p.m. on ESPN.
Yes.
We will sadly be at a Sixers game at this time, but you'll know I'll have my headphones in and be watching that instead of the Sixers.
Oh, yeah. I'll be watching the Sixers, but that's okay. And then we'll talk about it that weekend. So
yeah,
even though it won't be immediate reaction, you will get our takes pretty quickly soon after.
Well, I hope it's not like super lame like the...
It's just list.
I feel like that's what it's going to be. They're just going to like
20 minutes,
show
here's
the
a
list. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
WNBA, you got to work on your mystique a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what we have planned coming up around the corner.
What I want it to be like the whole team is there. This is what I want it to be. Instead of just a list, they're probably going to have like one person from each team there, like they did for the lottery.
Like a protected player?
Like one person to represent the team.
Yeah.
One player. I mean, those 4 didn't need to be there for the lottery. They were just like representing.
They always do that either way.
Okay, so they'll probably have one person like representing. I don't know. I want it to be they have the whole team. When it's their turn, they line up.
No way. No way.
Someone from the Valkyries
Point.
goes and like has to pick them out of the lineup of who they're picking. That'd
Just
be crazy.
give a big old crane game.
Yes.
It's like dangling over their head, and it's like, Lorella Kubai, you're gone.
That would be fun.
I mean, yeah, but it would be like really heartbreaking for a player that doesn't want to leave their team.
Well, it's gonna be
or like
anyway.
find out that they're unprotected.
It's gonna be heartbreaking anyway.
And they will not be doing that. I hate to break it to you.
Well, then it's gonna be boring.
Probably.
That's my expectation.
But that's okay. We'll find out if it's boring or if it's not. And we'll let you know in the next episode of Attack the Baseline. But that's going to do it for us today. If you'd like to send us an email again, you can do so. attackthebaseline@gmail.com or connect with us on Twitter or Bluesky. Look up Attack the Baseline. We are there. ATBPod. And yeah, Kristen, I'm staring at the baseline. What are we going to do?
Attack it.
Time to go make dinner. We will talk to you soon. And yeah, look forward to that expansion draft. Bye.
Hey everybody, I'm Trevor Sikkema, host of the PFF NFL show, here to tell you what you can find on all of our shows throughout the week. On Mondays, we have the Grade Release Show, where myself and Dalton Washman break down every single game that you just saw in the NFL. On Tuesdays, we have the Quarterback Breakdown with Seth Galina. On Wednesdays, we've got the Rookie Review with John Ledyard and the preview for the upcoming week in the NFL. So make sure you are subscribed to the PFF NFL show wherever you get your podcasts. Hey everybody, I'm Trevor Sikkema, host of the PFF NFL show, here to tell you what you can find on all of our shows throughout the week. On Mondays, we have the Grade Release Show, where myself and Dalton Washman break down every single game that you just saw in the NFL. On Tuesdays, we have the Quarterback Breakdown with Seth Galina. On Wednesdays, we've got the Rookie Review with John Ledyard and the preview for the upcoming week in the NFL. So make sure you are subscribed to the PFF NFL show wherever you get your podcasts.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.